Hello, friends. It is ridiculously early. I actually got up to go and work out, and I thought, oh, let me go and work out in. I've got like a gym. Don't ask. I know you would never know it to look at me, but I've got a gym in my house in the basement. But we've had a leak because of the thunderstorm a few weeks ago, so everything's moved around, so I can't do anything. And then I thought, oh, I'll go and work out outside, and then I'm not sure if you can hear it, but now it's raining, so that's out of the question. I am awake. I just might look a little bit like, you know, not 100%, but I'm ready to go. So I want to talk today about decentering yourself in the conversation when you're talking about race. This is particularly for white people. If I talk about what centering yourself means, because then it makes sense when I talk about decentering yourself. So, centering yourself means when somebody's talking to you about their experiences, a black person is talking to you about their experiences, you're ready at any point to jump in to make sure that you can demonstrate to them that either you've never done anything racist, you've never said anything racist, you don't see people's colour because you treat everybody as how you find what's that phrase? I treat everybody how I find them or whatever it is. You have stood up for racist acts when you've seen things happen, you've called things out. So that's one angle of centering yourself. The other angle is when you might say things like, well, you know, as a woman, like, you know, I might not have been through your exact experience, but I know how I felt when I was the only woman on the trading floor in the city. Or I know how I felt when I went on holiday and there was nobody else on the bus that had the same colour as me. Or I know how it feels because as a fill in the blanks, as a white gay man, fill in the blanks, as a white lesbian, fill in the blanks, and whatever else it is. That's what it means to center yourself in the conversation. Because what you do, even though you might think to yourself, well, because, and the reason why I'm sharing this is because some people think that when they do that, it's a case of, well, I'm trying to show empathy and I'm trying to show that I understand. Because it's like the shared experience will bring us closer together. That's my way of saying, like, I get it, I get it. But that's why I'm really harsh by when I say, like, you're not going to get it unless you've been black. You're not going to get it. Even though my partner is as white as they come, as I say to him, because he's Estonian, he speaks Russian, for goodness sake. Do you know what I mean? So he might say, well, he's Eastern European and, being here in the UK means he's treated X, Y, and Z. But even he knows better. He can never understand what it's like. Even when he tries to give me the whole, yeah, but I play basketball. I'm like, whatever. No, you don't. So he tries it too, thinking that somehow is going to bring us closer together in this subject. I'm like, no, no, darling, it ain't. Because when you're doing that, you're trying to make sure that when you're talking to me, and I'm going to use that example, imagine we're having this conversation and you're saying this to me. What you're trying to make sure that I see is the fact that you're not one of those people that are racist or prejudiced or discriminate against people. So you're very conscious of making me see you as somebody who's on my side. And you do that through the sharing of your experiences. That's one angle. But the other angle is you potentially also do that to deflect the conversation. Because if I'm telling you about my experience and my story, and your response is to start telling me about what you deem is a similar experience or story, you are taking the focus away from me and what I'm experiencing and putting it on you. That's what it means to center. The other extension of that, and this is where you've got to be very, very careful, is when I still see this, still hear this. Yeah, but what about me? You might not say the words, like some people are blatant and say, yeah, but I matter. You know what I mean? Like, I get all this Black Lives stuff, and I'm appalled too at some of the things that I've seen and read. But you know, Shreen, what I really don't agree with is this idea of, because we're in this moment, that as black people, you're important than me and my kids and my family. Like, I don't agree with that just because you've been treated poorly. Like, I didn't do that. I didn't sell your ancestors. I didn't, run plantations. Listen, I'm not even living in privilege, do you know what I mean? So I don't even like this term white privilege, even though I kind of understand it, but I don't like it because I'm not privileged. So when people do that, when you do that, you're trying to stop that conversation about race. You're trying to stop that conversation in terms of me sharing my experiences. And because it's making you feel uncomfortable, because let's be clear, when people say that, it means they're feeling like, oh, I don't get it, I get it, I don't get it. So because they don't get it, you've got to stop talking. Some other ways it's manifests itself in conversation is when people say things like, it's a lot to take in. I need some time. Like my head is going to explode. Like, I hear it, I hear it, I hear it. But oh my God, I just need some time. I just need some time. Like, I need you to just be gentle with me. I need you to just be like patient. I just hope with all of this that, as Black people, you can just be gentle with us because for many of us, we just haven't seen this. I've heard that too. Heard it, seen it, read it in the comments. My response to that is another example of centering yourself in a conversation and making this about you. I might not have used the terminology, but that's what I mean. And also, it's trying to deflect the conversation. And in some instances, when you say this whole thing about, like, what about so and so over here because they also experience that? What about so and so over there because, like, they've also experienced discrimination? That's the definition of gaslighting. And gaslighting is when you try and downplay somebody's experience deliberately, and that's a form of oppression. Gaslighting is a form of oppression because it stops the conversation. So you're denying somebody their right to be seen. You're denying somebody their right to be heard as a control mechanism. So when I talk about, and you might have heard other Black people use this term gaslighting in business. And phrase, the most common phrase used, I believe anyway, in my experience, that comes under gaslighting, there's two. You're just saying that because you're Black, or fill in the blanks, whatever. And the second one is, you people always make this about race. And then the third one, actually, there's a third one. So forget the most common. Let me give you three. Three. So the first one is, you're only saying that because you're Black. Second one is, you Black people always make it about race. And third one is, I'm really supportive of the Black movement, and I just can't believe, you're just throwing it back in my face, or if they're talking about somebody else, like she or he's just throwing it back in my face when I do. Centering yourself in the conversation, gaslighting because you're denying somebody their experience, and you're using those phrases as a way to shut down the conversation because you feel uncomfortable or because you feel guilty or because you feel shame or whatever it is. You might be feeling lots of things, like I don't know what you're feeling, but basically you want the conversation to stop. When you say to Black people, like, you just got to be gentle, don't be angry when you talk to me, don't be bitter, don't be judgmental, because I don't respond very well to that. I don't respond to aggression. I've heard that as well. Oh my God. Oh, listen, for anyone who's bored, you know what I mean, and you've got a bit of time, just have a little click on any of my LinkedIn posts. Probably the ones that have got, maybe look at the ones that have got like over 100 likes or whatever else it is, and the comments and the number of comments, because just have a scroll through. And I promise you, it's like a masterclass in gaslighting, centering yourself in a conversation, a masterclass in white privilege, a masterclass in white supremacy. It's all there. And remember, I don't just get this in the comments, I get this in the messages, I also get this in the conversations, I get this in the Zoom calls. So I'm not saying, and the reason why I guess, why am I showing this? Why am I showing? Because I want people to understand, and I want you to understand that when I talk about doing the work, some of the work is about history and context and. But some of it is also about unlearning behaviours that aren't helpful, full stop. Like centering yourself in a conversation is not helpful in many other examples, not just about race. Not just about race. But clearly, as we know, I'm on a black vibe, so I'm going to focus on it. But maybe one of the things that we don't do enough of in business is teach people how to listen. Because I would do this, I do the same thing. Listen, I'm not here to like sitting here telling to you like, oh yeah, I'm like, no, well, I'm like the master. I know it's a masculine term, but I'm like the master of decentering myself in a conversation. Bloody no, I have to work hard. And like I still mess up because I still want to go, oh my God, let me tell you about this experience. Oh my God. So I'm saying this because I do the same thing. But I'll go back to this point about the power dynamics. The power dynamics. As Black people, we are expected to concede. So if somebody finds my delivery too much, and to be honest, that's probably part of the reason why I do video, because it's a bit like, well, if you don't like it, don't watch me. And if you are going to have a conversation with me, understand this is the energy that I'm on because this is my personality. Because like I've spent years watering it down to make other people feel comfortable, saying nothing when I really want to just go, for fuck's sake. So unapologetically, by me doing this, I'm censoring my goddamn self because ain't nobody else censoring me. Well, there are some people, thank you, but you know, collectively, society does not centre the Black experience. Society does not centre the Black voice. So when you hear people talk about you need to centre, you need to uplift the voices of Black people, that's what they mean. They mean you have to learn to fall back. You have to learn to stay quiet. You have to learn to zip it and listen and not get ready to jump in to go and prove that you're not that person and you're not. So in a roundabout way, I hope that makes sense. I hope that just gives you a little bit more context. You know, we've got to start centering Black voices more. You've got to start decentering yourself from conversations. And you've got to stop expecting Black people to take it easy on you while you catch up. Because I don't think we'll catch up to you're not going to catch up to the point that you 110% get it. And actually, we don't need you to 110% get it. I'd be settled. I'd be happy for like 20%. As long as you do something, you know. Thank you for listening.